Hello and welcome. Today I'm sitting down with the Director of Student Media at Ohio University, Andrea Lewis. And the first thing I'll ask you today is just kind of what is your position and what does that kind of have you do on a day-to-day basis?
So I'm fortunate because I get to work with so many of our student media orgs. We have, as part of the Campus Involvement Center that's now been renamed for the Center for Student Engagement and Leadership, we have 28 student organizations that are considered student media. A lot of them consist of students who are out of Scripps College of Communication, but not every student is, because they're open to everyone. So I am their support system, their safety net, kind of behind the scenes, a sounding board for a lot of our student media when they're working through problem solving, budgeting, staffing issues or challenges, and how to figure out funding solutions and things like that. I also give them technical support when they need it, and just here to help in any way that's possible that they need me to.
Yeah, so what is kind of your background like, and how did you get involved with a position here at Ohio University?
So I have a very varied background, let's put it that way. I think I'm a firm believer that everyone finds their superpower one day, and I feel that mine is I'm a connection maker and a problem solver. I went to Ohio University many years ago. We'll just leave the decade out. And I graduated from OU with a degree in fine arts. My husband, who we've been married for 25 years, he got a job right out of college here at OU. And then we stayed here. So Athens is not a huge town outside of the university, so you end up doing jobs that are available. I ran a couple businesses here, including some that came out of the Innovation Center and were part of Ohio University. And I ran a nonprofit here for 10 years in the arts, and then ended up working for Adams Publishing Group, which is the main newspaper here in Athens. They own 10 newspapers in Ohio and one in Michigan at the time that I was working there, and I was their events and marketing director. So I started that division. I grew it into several $100,000 revenue generating division of the paper. I also was the editor of their lifestyle magazine and content creator for that, worked a lot with layout design and curating that, and distribution and those kinds of things. That's where kind of my relationship to media happened. And I worked there for several years. A friend of mine works in the Division of Student Affairs, and at the time they were looking for someone to work with the Post specifically because they had some challenges in their business office that they needed to address, really solidify their budget and make a sustainable future for them that was standalone and independent. And she reached out to me and let me know that this job was available and said, you really need to do this. You would be great for it. Your personality fits. And so I did. And here I am.
So what does a typical day look like for you when you come into the office?
So that's a really hard question to answer, Andrew, because I've been here almost 5 years now this spring, and no day's ever the same. So the students aren't here always early in the morning because everybody's in class, creating their content, doing all of that. So in the morning, I get to do all my, busy work, get all my emails answered, set meetings, kind of make sure that the money balances in the background and address any problems from the day before. And then when the students start rolling in late morning, it could be back-to-back meetings with any one of our student media organizations talking about their event plans for the future, how to write contracts, how to hire staff, how to recruit, how to market. Or it can be, simply working with our sales team, because I do work with the sales team at the Post, and they are the main revenue generators outside of passive income for the student newspaper. So it could be working with them on strategies to, transition leads into sales and close those. So some days I get to talk to alumni, work with alumni. Some days I'm working on grant proposals to bring more equipment and more things into our newsroom and the other orgs kind of toolbox so that they can be more successful. So no day's the same. No day's the same for sure.
Yeah, so obviously, as the director of student media, what is your vision for the future, and do you have any major projects or any projects in the works right now?
Well, There's always projects in the works. So my main goal, and I tell the students all the time when I'm advising them or working through problems, that I do have an ulterior motive, and I'm very upfront about that with every one of the leaders of our student orgs and their staff. And it's my ulterior motive always is to elevate them, elevate their brand, keep them visible, because I know, and those of us in Scripps know, what great work they're creating, the award-winning work they're creating, and the how dedicated they are and driven our content creators are. And we have very high-performing students, but that isn't always visible to like the cabinet leadership, to the community, to kind of others in our sphere who don't realize the workload that you all have, how much you're doing on your own. Like, you're taking what you get and learn in the classroom and from faculty and making that content on your own, and like taking those passions and creating something out of it. So my goal always is to elevate that and make it very visible. So, but what I know is, and what upsets me every day, is how humble our student media students are. They don't like to brag, so I like to brag for them. I think it's always great, you know, when we're doing stuff that we have opportunities to connect everybody to mentors and alumni, and making those connections is really special to me. Getting folks energized about, the potential of what happens off this campus when they leave. I have a couple projects in the works. I have my fingers out there securing some independent funding so that we can help build some equipment resources that can be shared among our student orgs, so they're not always relying on what's available in the media room, and they're not also, hindered by what is not available in the media room. That also makes that equipment available to students who aren't part of the College of Communication and might not have access to it. And I think that's a challenge for some of our students. We have worked very hard with several of our orgs to acquire computers and software so that students that don't have Adobe Creative Cloud, Creative Suite, can come into our office spaces and use that without having the financial outlay to do it themselves. So those are the kind of little things that I have in the works.
Yeah, and obviously your job encompasses a lot of different things. Is there something that is your favorite part of everything you get to do?
So a lot of, my friends who don't work on campus and they don't work with students, when I'm not at work, they'll be like, "Oh, isn't your job so hard? Like all those students." I'm like, actually, I love it, because I get energized by all of the excitement that every student brings when they come in and they're, talking about their project or what they want to do next. And that enthusiasm kind of feeds my energy and really drives me to help them do better. So I love that part. I'm not bothered by that at all. So
yeah,
I love you guys,
Yeah.